What's up, Mortal Kombat fans?
Hi, everybody.
My name is Zach.
Yeah, I'm Nathan.
This is episode 42 of Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is a podcast where we talk about trauma as a whole, but mainly our religious trauma coming out of the Calvary Chapel Christian Church.
Yes, and we have focused almost 41 episodes on our own personal experience with religious trauma syndrome.
Yes, sir.
And as we've gone through a major brand change, a few episodes back, a couple episodes, about 4 or 5 episodes now ago, go back and check that out if you're really curious on why. And in-house today, we have our graphic designer, Chantel. Seabogue Design.
Welcome. Yay. Woo.
Who once again finished our brand and helped us with the website. And then about the same week everything was done, we did the brand change. So
she's very patient.
We are patient too. We're all patient. It's all been a patient process.
Very patient.
Of acknowledging identity and the importance behind that. And standing true to that.
Indeed.
So thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here.
If you're watching, and thank you, Chantel.
Definitely to the people that are watching. Thank you for watching.
We've talked about this. It's a relationship.
Yeah.
And we know we're not getting that many views on the main podcast, but we know that these videos are up forever. So that's going to change over time.
Definitely.
But if it wasn't for you, we'd probably still be doing this.
Yeah.
Because it's healing.
Oh, obviously.
There's something about public display of trauma and healing that is healing.
Indeed.
Just the process. So we trust the process.
Indeed.
And Zachary, how are you?
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty tired. Had the show yesterday, performed last night for the first time as SYNZ, and it was all the nerves and then all the relief.
You did perform live, and I have it all on film if you want me to show it.
Don't show the whole thing. It's way too long.
But do you want me to show any of it?
Clip through it.
We could just clip it right here.
I've been thinking about you for so long. Making me crazy. I don't think I'm playing, but I've been waiting. Hell yeah! Danny, spin that shit. Yeah, really getting time being poor, man. Shout out to the goals in the floor, man. Stop fucking with these politicians. Soon I'll be working with Aubrey. That is so true with content. I need money. I need the money, baby. Pass on bricks, just pay me. You all got tricks, so pay me. I be all on, yeah, you gon' get it. Wasn't born to a throne like he's cold sedated. Daddy's Eddie Kyle, be protected. I'll be out on the top, yeah, I'd admit it. That's SYNZ, thank you.
Welcome back. That was me doing a little fiddly-piddly and a poodly-poppily on the stagey wavy.
You know, what's funny is because we decide things and like while we're doing this live, I'm going to have so much editing this guy.
Yeah, but I just bought you a new computer. Well,
You did.
And so you have all the tools.
You and fam.
You and fam.
Which, by the way, now we'll get to that later. Your performance was amazing. And you and Xandra in Motion, your partner Alex, did incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
And I probably didn't show that in this clip, but you were very vulnerable on stage. And I had no idea that it's like you embodied our most recent podcast.
I did, 100%.
And it was like...
I almost was going to mention it in my speech that I was giving, that we had a podcast about doing the uncomfortable things.
What the hell did you didn't drop Mortal Kombat?
It was so hard to gather my thoughts when I was talking.
I know it is. But you like what was incredible is I'm, the greeter in the back.
Yeah.
Filming it, and the whole time you were speaking, I was like, Zach's normally like nervous, but you would never know. You were so calm up there, and you just like, even if you felt like shit, it was like, nope, you looked great.
I felt really comfortable talking, and I felt pretty comfortable rapping. I did not feel comfortable singing. It was really hard with those monitors. And
you watched the video though.
I did.
How do you feel you did?
Oh, no, it doesn't sound as good as I wanted it to.
Oh, come on. You did so good.
I don't know. I don't think so, dude. But
You're such a perfectionist, which I love you for it.
It's just vocals are different. And Yeah.
You are an obsessive perfectionist, and I love you for it.
Oh, thank you.
It's a little overwhelming for you to say you didn't do good.
I think I did.
Say right now that you did amazing.
I think I did great.
Okay. I thought you did awesome. And Xandra is sexy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey,
and
careful.
I'm just saying, man. That was it was like love. It was like sexy love on a stage, you two.
Yeah. No, the chemistry was real. When we watched it in bed later that night.
You watched it in bed.
Didn't even take a shower. We were sticky, dude.
Oh, yeah. That's gross.
Hey, you wanted to bring up sex, okay?
We are later with this cast anyway, so there you go.
And it was really fun to sit there and watch ours just kill it. We just killed it, dude. And the energy there, I was like, wow, no wonder people were turned on. I'm turned on. Yeah. Like, this was hot. And it was really fun. We had such a good crowd, dude. Yeah. We were going to be excited if we sold 50 tickets, and we sold 99.
It was a packed house.
And for that small venue, it was like, oh my God, I don't remember the last time I had a packed house.
This venue, it's a new venue in town called the California.
Yeah.
And just go online and check it out. They have a bar, a beautiful bar to the left. They have standing tables with high seats too, and bar snacks and food. And you can grab a drink and snacks and sit at the tables. And they have all these other high seating tables to the right, but then they have like stadium sort of theater seating all on the front ground floor, and then like theater seating in the back. So the whole vibe like you could film. It's a great venue for comedy. Yeah. It's a great venue for theater. It's a great venue for something like we did last night.
Yeah.
It was just like you could see cameras, like if they were doing like a TV, like a live TV show or something. That's the type of venue it felt like.
Yeah.
Where you could like zoom in on people at the bar and then go back to the podcast. It would be a great live
like small crowd
day
live,
show or
live
something,
day show type
like
thing,
night show thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And it had that vibe because people were just like going and getting drinks, and it was kind of like this sort of cafe bar.
And they did full like food service too,
delivering drinks while people are performing. It was very cool. So great first SYNZ live performance.
Yeah, I'm very proud of myself for my first SYNZ performance.
I'm so happy to hear you say that. And Chantel, who was on the Phoenix Dancers.
Oh my God, they slayed.
The dance choreographed by a couple different people, but mostly Alex, right?
Yeah.
Sandra in Motion. She choreographed all of it.
Not all of it. She choreographed. Do you know exactly which part? So it was basically split into like 4 different sections where there was different girls on the team that did different sections, whereas Xandra took on like the 2 biggest parts of the sections.
I got you. And this is Heels Dance. And if you don't know what that is, you can find tons of it on YouTube. But Zach's partner runs, basically and teaches and directs her own performances. And so she was just sitting in the audience like a proud director would. And y'all slayed it.
Oh, you guys did so good. Best show yet.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So very proud of you both. And I was an amazing greeter.
You were.
Every single person that came through that door, like not a single person came through that door without me being like, hey, do you have your tickets? And they were like, yeah, they're on our phone. Wonderful. Welcome to the California. Listen, why don't you go ahead over to the front here to get your tickets and go grab yourself a drink or something like that and some snacks. It's open seating. So if you need any help, just let me know.
Dude, it was really funny because he did it with Whitney, Chantel's fiance. And when we were all getting pizza after, Whitney was like, I thought I was going to kill it. I'm pretty social. I can be pretty social and fun. Your brother, he's tough to compete with. I was like, dude, I know. I did music with him for a very long time. He's a very social dude.
Yes, it's true. And normally I'm on stage.
Yeah, I know.
And so I'm not normally that person. But like, if you put me as a greeter, I'll make a stage.
I'll make a stage. Xandra said something really fun last night. She was like, if we do it again, I kind of want your brother to MC next time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Alex, you know my Venmo account.
$50, you can have them.
Yeah, $50 a minute. No, it's 50 pesos a minute. That would be fun. I think emceeing it's like, well, we're emceeing right now.
Exactly.
It's like, give me a mic and give me the list, and I'll fill the void.
You know what I realized is that middle speech that I gave was so much easier because of how much we podcast.
We've practiced a lot.
Practiced so much.
This is actually
talking
benefiting.
Talking on the spot. Talk.
If we don't give up, hopefully someone buys our show and we can just...
or just sponsors us.
But yeah, no, you did absolutely wonderful. And I was so tired this morning just from like being a part of an event and like doing that. I know y'all were out super late. And so thank you both for being here today. Because it's midnight right now and we just had to cram it in.
Yeah, dude, we had to get this in. It's like, and I got work in 3 hours.
It's 4:15.
No,
6:15.
Yeah, 6:14.
It looks like a 4. Well, we're gonna jump into it.
Yeah, why not? Why not get into it? We have quite a few posts to go over here.
Let's see if little Uncle Zach over here, as my son says, Uncle Zach. Let's see if you remember. Oh,
a moment to Reddit.
Welcome back to another rendition of A Moment to Reddit, brought to you by Mortal Kombat. I am your host, Nathan, and this is my host,
Zach.
Yes, you remembered.
Yes. I'm actually supposed to say, and I am your host, Zach.
Yeah. And, but you remembered. Thank you for doing the jingle. And before we jump into A Moment to Reddit, if you have no idea what we're talking about, go back and watch every single episode of our podcast.
Thank you.
Where we choose posts on Reddit that we find that are intriguing and invite conversation about religious trauma. So hot topics, baby.
Hot fun topics.
Hot topics,
Reddit,
baby.
But Reddit's been quite the antagonists these days. So we're not sure how much longer we're actually gonna take advantage of the Reddit.
Yeah.
But
which sucks because it's been such a free place.
It has
for expressing oneself privately or
sadly.
Publicly.
Greed ruins a lot of things.
Yeah. It's true.
And Reddit's been a beautiful place for a very long time. And it seems like greed's getting the best of it.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, you can literally go on Reddit and it's on everybody's post.
Yeah.
Everybody's commenting about how Reddit is starting to charge parts of using the app lots of money.
Basically, yeah. For like separate companies that use the app, they charge their API. And outrageous fees.
Right.
That isn't making it unusable.
And we know that, capitalism, the spirit of capitalism is alive in this country and alive in the world. And so you can't escape it. So it's kind of like dancing with fear, but you don't have to let it consume you. And so like what we're doing on this podcast is we do our very best not to let the capitalistic side of everything that is around public art take advantage of us or confuse us, but it does. And so when I was on Reddit looking for posts and just kind of going through it, it was actually a little more difficult. There's a lot more complaining going on rather than like expressive communication. But I found some good posts. So why don't we go ahead and just jump on in?
Why don't we jump on into it, Nathaniel?
Moment to Reddit. Post number 1 comes to you from I have made it a lot. What's it say? I have meditated a lot.
Yeah.
From user, I have meditated a lot.
There you go.
They say, one thing I don't understand about Christianity is why can't I change my mind once I'm in hell? Just let that sit for a minute. So if you go to hell, can you not change your mind?
Are they saying like you can't change your mind? Like, I believe in God now.
It's like, yeah.
I believe in Jesus.
So here's
now.
what they say. I don't know about you guys, which I don't know about y'all, but I can barely stand going to the dentist. So as soon as the burning started, I would be like, okay, I changed my mind. I accept this Jesus guy. So basically what they're saying is, yeah, if you go to hell, right, because you don't believe in Christianity or whatever, and you end up there for eternity, right?
The 50 to
and you were
70
like,
years you lived here.
Immediately you were like, okay, you were right. I'm sorry. I believe in you now.
Too late.
Yeah. Bummer.
I am the God of love. That's a big bummer.
Here is your fire bed.
Yeah.
Here's your fire pillow. And here's your lava blanket. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. So Paul Michael says, because it's ridiculous fiction designed to keep you investing while you are alive. If you could change your mind when dead, why would you invest now? Also, how could the church control any of your thoughts if you could change your mind later? Elaborate on that.
I was elaborating on what they said.
Okay.
to elaborate on it further, let me take that further. If I died and went to hell, I couldn't change my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's all faith-based.
It's all faith-based, and it's based off the ridiculous belief that a God of love would give you an ultimatum that the one life you get, if you don't believe the right things and you aren't raised by the right people to give you those beliefs, then you are going to burn for eternity.
You want to know what's funny is I've heard so many Christians say this, but I'm not here to judge God. So when you sit before God after you die, then God will be the one that decides. And it's like, but I don't believe.
But you're a human telling me this is what God's going to tell me.
But your Bible tells me I'm going to burn in hell for eternity if I don't give my life to Christ. And I'm not going to give my life to Christ, but I'm not here to judge God.
Yeah.
But the rules say I'm going to burn.
Well, the Bible written by men.
And you can't change your mind. Yeah, the Bible written by men. Very good
Not
point.
by God.
Another comment. From Flying Squid. Once again, I love these usernames so much. Flying Squid says, you get 75 years or so, which that's the life expectancy, I guess this person's giving us, to accept Jesus. And then you never get a chance again for all eternity because God loves you.
Yes. Such good love, too. That's like true eternal love.
You want to know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like conditioned love.
Yeah.
You want to know where we experience true conditioned love?
Where?
The gods in our life when we were born, our parents.
But that love was unconditionally conditional.
Right. It's unconditional conditioned love when it's coming from parents. But it's similar. It's like God's love became parents' love, which was kind of like, if you don't follow what we're telling you to believe in, then you have to leave. Or you can't. It's like, we're just going to argue.
Dude, and what's so silly and
I'll make your life a living hell.
Contradictory about that idea is that we were told our entire lives as Christians that God's love is unconditional. That's why I have agape tattooed on my fucking arm.
That's why I have agape.
Because agape means unconditional love or godly love.
Right.
And it's the most purest form of love. When you really actually read the Bible, it's love based off conditions.
Yeah.
You can be a Christian this way, this way, this way. If you do these things, I won't love you.
There is something really weird about having a gatekeeping mentality to Jesus or to God itself, where it's like, you can get to God, but you have to follow this.
Yeah.
That's a gatekeeping mentality to spirituality. It's a gatekeeping mentality to freedom. And that is rough. That like limits your ability to self. No, this isn't up to you. This is up to this way. And if you don't do it this way, you're going to burn in hell for eternity. Can I change my mind once I learned that hell is real? No.
It also gives reason to make this life, it's okay to make this life just pure suffering, because at least you're going to get to heaven and it's going to be pure joy and happiness forever.
Right.
When in reality, it's like, that might just be a reason to keep people oppressed and make them feel okay being oppressed.
Right.
It's like, well, at least you believe in Jesus. At least you're going to go to heaven, because you could be oppressed for eternity in hell. When in reality, it's like, none of that's real. We just want to make sure we can control you.
Control. Yep. And your money.
And your money.
Yeah.
Make sure you tithe.
Give your first fruits every beginning of the month too at the same time.
Yeah. Okay? And your firstborn child.
So that people like pastors can buy really nice shirts and shoes and stuff. What church was that? That was there's a huge documentary actually on YouTube about that church where that pastor was wearing like $100,000. I figured we could have a whole entire cast on that. That'd be great for the algorithm.
I still want to dive deep on Chuck Smith.
We could probably
He's the reason why the cult started here.
We should take this podcast on the road and start interviewing people from Calvary Chapel down south.
You know, that's what we would do if this podcast really took off and we actually were able to just pay our rent with it, is we probably would take it on the road.
Did Chuck Smith touch little kids? Did Chuck Smith touch little kids?
Standing outside the church.
Was he like the Catholic Church?
Who are those boys? We're Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
You see what I did there?
You did that.
Oh, sorry.
You did that. Alternative Ball 377 says, unless you were born with good old God's trademark bone cancer for kids, then you likely get way less than 75 years. But don't worry, good old God trademark loves you. It's true. If you end up with a terminal disease as a kid, you may never even have the opportunity. You're just going to die.
That was my biggest question to our father, who's a pastor. I would always ask him, I'm like, what about the people born in parts of the world that would never get the opportunity to even know of this religion, to even know there's a God. And that's where what you just brought up comes up. Well, I am not here to say how God judges them.
What about the people in the Amazon that do ayahuasca?
Yeah.
What about them?
Yeah.
I just saw a video too on Reddit that was really funny where it shows an evangelical missionary telling a group of monks that what the God they believe in or whatever they do is wrong. And the monks standing there and they're all like in orange robes and they're like standing there. And the guy's like, what you're believing, what you're doing is wrong. What you need Jesus. And the monk just slaps the shit out of his face. And his glasses goes fine. He's like so shocked that a monk would slap him. And the monk takes his robe and they all just like walk away. And it was just like, don't expect monks to be all pure, They're not going to be all peace all the time, you know? Don't tell a monk what they believe is wrong.
Yeah. Seriously, though.
Anyway, so in the Christian belief, a lot of religions are this way. It's one way or the highway.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get many more opportunities after this life. It's also wild that this religion's been around for thousands of years, and yet everyone believes, like the end times are coming now.
That's not true. Christianity has not been around for thousands of years.
Yes, it has.
Maybe 1,000 years. Catholicism has been around for a long time.
Well, whatever. I guess I kind of Christianity, Catholicism. That's like we're talking about one white man arguing with another white man, and then all of a sudden a sector comes out of that. Yeah. Then another white man disagrees with that white man, and then another sector of it comes out.
Did you know there was a time, or I guess there's scriptures in the Bible. I saw this the other day, and I was like, I don't know if I ever knew this, but it caused a lot of controversy where it basically says a black man should never be a pastor.
Oh, this is why the white Christian church is different than the black church.
And it was followed by a bunch of clips of pastors saying, don't judge us for that moment. That was the past. And it's like, so there was a time where you were saying black people shouldn't be
everything, pastors. Dude. If you read the Bible and you really read it, it's written in a time where women were owned by men. Women were literally property of men. Slavery was a normal part of business and encouraged.
I would actually argue
the Bible is that ruthless.
The women in church are still owned by the man.
Well, we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
And we could get rarely off, we could really go off on that one. Yeah. And that's why when we start having more interviews and we can have people of all different shapes and sizes on this podcast, I can't wait to hear people's experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not a woman.
And we only have one experience, and that's our experience.
True. Sometimes I feel like I'm experiencing a lot of things at once. So, moving on.
Love that.
Coming out of ex-Christian, Senpai Halo 7. Oh, gotta love the Halo.
_7, Nathan.
_7. There's a typo here, okay, but we're going to read it correctly. I think it's funny because it says Eve. But it says, ever since I became an atheist, or Eve, since I became an atheist, I've been having the best sex of my life. I believe Christianity prevents a good sex life, period. Love that.
Christianity also causes a lot of sexual trauma.
I think I'm just going to read this person's post here because it's a lot to read and just going to say it and then let's go off on it. I strongly believe that being a Christian kept me afraid of having an actual connection with my partner. With all of these soul ties and having your life ruined forever just by having sex with your partner really did not help me at all with my relationship. If anything, it hurt it more. Since my boyfriend was and still is an atheist while I was a Christian, he had a high libido while I tried to make excuses as to why I didn't want to have that type of connection with him until marriage. I do truly believe now that it drained him. Now that I'm looking at it from a different perspective, I now know that sex is simply reproducing and to have fun with your partner. No soul tie, no life ruined. I recently talked to my partner about how sorry I was for making it seem like he wasn't physically attractive to me when he was even more than that. He forgave me, and now I'm having the best sex of my life. Woo, 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 woo.
I love how at the bottom it says edited ever.
Edited ever because it says Eve.
Yeah.
So it's like perfect. Listen, Eve. And the first one comment here before we jump in says from USS Frontier. USS Frontier. It does in fact prevent a good sex life. That's the point. Christianity paints recreational sex as something to be ashamed of.
Yeah. Oh, dude, so much shame on sex.
So much shame. How much anxiety around masturbation did you have?
I had anxiety around masturbation because I wasn't supposed to be doing anything sexual.
Exactly. But I'm saying
I was never told.
That's even before the sex.
Oh, yeah. Way before.
It's ingraining shame into anything sexual, like way before even sex becomes a thought.
Yeah.
Even just as a kid, it was like 12 years old, 13 years old, learning what it was like, I'm so sorry, God.
Yeah. And we've brought it up multiple times on this podcast. I was told what I was as a man and what I felt. And I was a horny man, even though I wasn't in my head. A lot of boys were, but me, I was so afraid to feel those feelings because of the church. And this exact whole paragraph that you just read here is like, yes, that feeling of until we get married, I'm not going to even think about that.
Yeah, the pressure.
I'm too afraid to think about sex because we are not married, but I'll marry you to have sex with you immediately, right now, eternity with you. Just to have sex.
And not even like, and like, so even and then you make you make that god awful mistake and you end up having sex with your partner. And if you're with another Christian or something, right? Like you're in a Christian relationship. The guilt, but also there's no like sex, like safe sex.
No. Oh, you don't get taught how to have safe sex.
So even if you're like behind the scenes making decisions, it's not like you are encouraged by parents or people in the church how to be safe about it if you choose to do it.
So many people, young people in the church would get pregnant.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times it was like you're 16 or 17 and you're pregnant. Why? It's like, oh, because you had sex twice?
Yeah.
Because you didn't know what protection was or how you could have safe sex, and we've just all been blinded. It's always really sad.
It's always the conservative, over-controlling Christians that are able to have kids like butter.
Yep.
Everybody else is like, I can't have kids. For some reason, it's not working. We've had sex 15 times a day and it's not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
It's, it's just the way it seems to work.
It's like the theory of Handmaid's Tale. I don't think you've ever watched that TV show.
I haven't, but I'm reading one of her books and it's not that one, but she's an amazing writer.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I would imagine the book is just insanely well.
I haven't read, I'm not reading that one. I'm reading a different one. But it's very controlling.
So controlling, and especially over sex.
And the shame and the guilt is like unreal, and it lasts well into,
now. I'm still struggling with it, dude.
I mean, how are you still struggling with it?
I'm not struggling with it as bad as I was in like most of my 20s. I'm definitely, through this podcast and through microdosing and all the help I'm doing with myself, growing out of a lot of sexual trauma.
Right.
But when I say sexual trauma, the reason why I think in my being I have not been that sexual of a person, and even in my relationships, is because I'm too afraid to feel those feelings.
Think about it, just like our past blouse days, and I would be like,
dude, come on, man! Like,
well, like, I mean, like there was so much toxic masculinity, right, that comes out of the church too, and like, so even when I like walked out of Christianity at like 16, 17, and then you were following into your mid-20s, right? Or like leading your own path into your mid-20s or whatever. It was like, I was out like, I got to meet girls. There was like so much of my life focus without even me accepting it, not even knowing, was like, I was just so controlled by sexual energies. I didn't know, like I went all the way on the other end. So when I got out of the church, it was like, I didn't know how to like live for anything else. I wasn't even like, it was just like, sex was on such a high pedestal. It wasn't like I was out there just trying to have sex all the time, but it was more of like, it was just over consuming my thoughts and like looking at porn or like thinking of like seeing a woman and being like, wow, I'm really attracted to her, or even seeing a man and being like, why am I attracted to him? It was like all guilt. And then it was like, okay, well, you know what? That's from the church. And I knew it. And it was like, so I better just go have sex.
Yeah.
So the way I dealt with my own sexual repression or like suppression, if you will, was like by having sex, which led me into having a lot of really hurtful experiences.
Or really dangerous experiences.
Dangerous and hurtful experiences. And I have a 12-year-old now.
Yeah. Yeah. Bing.
Da-da ding, bang,
ding,
bang.
Ding, ding,
ding. Bing, 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 bing.
Same, man. For me, it was the battle of I was afraid of sex. Really, especially with people not in a relationship with me. I got over the marriage thing once I was like 20. like the guilt of not being married, but the guilt of
thank God you didn't get married.
Yeah, seriously.
No pun intended.
The guilt of we're not even in a relationship and we're just going to have sex. I would indulge in large amounts of liquor so that I could do it. Wow. Yeah.
The hurdles you have to jump through just to find peace of mind to being yourself is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And it starts at birth.
Yeah.
Right? That sort of like parental and culty Christian dogma.
Yeah. I was going to mention that. It's so weird that at such a young age, I feared sex. Like before any kid would ever, you're not thinking about sex at 10 or 11. Feared sex, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't even really know what it was. I didn't know actually what sex was until like 15, where I was like, oh, my penis is supposed to do this. It's like, I had no knowledge of it.
That's because your parents,
I know,
which are my parents, took you out of sex ed.
Yep. And that's yep. That reminded me of that. I forgot we were taken out of sex ed. And when I remembered that, I just had such a flashback to what it was like being in school in an extreme Christian family and how troubling it was to be taken out of certain things.
Super troubling.
I wasn't allowed to go to science camp in 6th grade. One of the funnest camps that all the kids still talk about. That I go to, remember at science camp? No, I didn't go. Why? My parents don't believe in science.
They didn't let you go to science camp.
I couldn't go lick the whatever it was that made your tongue numb. And it's like the fun part of being a 6th grader. It's like, nope, I couldn't do that.
That sounds funny. You couldn't lick.
It's like a snail or something that you lick and makes your tongue numb. But it was like it's like a fun camp. Yeah. All the camps I was forced to go to were Christian camps where we just worshiped and read the book.
Yeah, or played games.
Played games.
Read the book.
Played the games about Jesus.
Yeah. Everything. 4-hour worship afterglows.
Yeah.
That's better than licking a snail. Yeah. Zach. Just kidding. It's real.
It is.
It's almost like sex ed is there in public school, or just puberty class is what they're calling it at 6th grade.
Yeah.
Just puberty class, which is where they have professionals come and teach kids. These are the reasons why puberty class or sex ed classes are there, is because there are a lot of parents that will never teach their children safe sex or anything that has nothing to do about sex, just about their own bodies. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, why you wear deodorant, how to shave, the basics of like taking care of yourself. Mm-hmm. Some kids never learn that. I don't ever remember being told how to shave.
How to avoid UTIs.
You know? Everything I just learned, I picked up from like movies. How to avoid UTIs. That's a great one. Yeah. I was like getting UTIs left and right as a kid.
Really?
No. Oh my God, dude. I was like, where was I?
I can imagine.
Of course you were. I bet you were.
Kidney issues.
Chantel's explaining how, given she identifies as a woman and she had plenty of UTIs growing up. That's a much more female thing. Oh, wow. She's saying that she did not know that it was a UTI at all. She just had to like deal with the consequences. That, that glorious burn and those deep, deep aches.
Poor females having to deal with so many UTIs.
Right now, a lot of what we're talking about is specific to our experience, which was being like very toxic masculine pushed into us. We knew a lot from our sister. Growing up with our sister, older sister, she there was a lot of things, which is why we want her on this podcast so bad. Maybe someday she'll come on. But I'm just going to leave it at that, because there's just so much that I would love to hear. However you identify in the chair, that's going to be where our interviews are someday, telling us about your experience on these same exact topics.
I know.
I'm going to read these next comments because it jumps into still same topic. Yeah. Having fun with sex, all that. Question Infamy says, at the other end of the scale, evangelical Christianity doesn't cope with asexuality or demisexuality well either. It's like nobody is allowed to be who they really are, no matter what it is. Great point. I don't want to have sex. I don't even want to go talk to people about sex. I just want friends. Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah.
The only thing about sex is after you're married with a man and a woman, and it's to have babies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
That's the rule. That's the rule. Anything outside of that, it's against God's plan. Mm-hmm. Same God where if you don't believe in him,
Yeah, it's a hammer.
You burn in hell and you can't change your mind after the fact.
Yeah. And that's love, baby.
That's
TM.
God's love.
Trademark love.
Trademark TM.
Yeah.
Next comment says, Who Time Lord says, I'm poly and polyamorous, panamorous. And the first time I was with another man, I laughed for about 5 minutes straight afterwards just because of how freeing and wonderful it was. Christianity 100% guilts people for enjoying sex.
Oh, yeah.
Can you remember the first time that you had sex freely? Can you actually remember what it felt like?
Freely?
Like this feeling of wow, what I'm doing is okay and good for me and my soul?
No, I can't remember the first time.
No, I can't.
I mean, I have a lot of trauma with sex. A lot of the sexual interactions I had were filled with guilt, and I would just lie to myself.
But would you say that you're having positive sexual relationship now?
Yeah. I don't know when the first time was, though.
But do you feel really free in it?
Now I do, yeah. But that's a recent thing.
Isn't it great?
I mean, yeah, sex is beautiful.
Something I'll even bring up for me, right? And this is as vulnerable as I can get. And I've started to talk about it more and more. But I have been unearthing, or the term I like to use, exhuming, feeling like I'm pulling out of some sort of burial site within me, my truth, which is such a non-gendered, non-binary thing. Ever since I was a kid, I was doing things that were totally against the toxic masculine norm. And I would imagine, without needing to even say this, I'm sure a lot of guys have done stuff like this, where if 10 years old, I remember seeing a pair of the females in our family's life, their underwear. I'd be like, oh, weird, girls' underwear. And it would give me this feeling that's so interesting. And I would put it on, and not even knowing what I was doing, I would just put it on. And I would get this feeling of fun as a kid, wow. But it was so much of that quote unquote sin. What I'm doing right now is so wrong. But what I was feeling was something inside of me that was just curious. Right? Because, boys wear boxers and, that's it. But we grew up with mom and sister, and there was just female energy in our house. And so whenever I would do laundry with mom and help her fold the underwear, I'd be commenting on it. Why are girls' underwear so tiny? How do you fold it? And then when I'd be by myself, I'd be if it's so tiny, what does it feel different? And I put it on, it feel different. It make me feel different. This is a total kid. Didn't even know what was going on. Fast forward 20 years later. Okay. Throughout my 20s, having experiences with both women and men, I learned that there is the healing and the growth I've had is there's this, what am I? Am I really why do I identify so strongly as a man? Who told me that? Who embraced that? Well, that's a lot we've been talking about. And so much of what I've been exhuming in my life, one of the main reasons why I came back from my retreat and we did this huge brand change was just from the truth that I feel I never got to make my own choice. I never made my own choice for who I liked or loved. I just was forced into, this is the way it goes. You're going to feel trauma and guilt if you go otherwise. And when that trauma and guilt finally left me, which is my current real relationship now, there was a lot of healing happening in my 20s, but a lot of that healing was happening through violent decisions, sexual decisions that led me scarred, scared, and confused. But when I met my current partner now, my fiance, soon to be wife, she had made me feel so whole with anything that I was feeling. And in our sexual relationship, we have been able to embrace everything. And what's come from that is me being able to feel that inner child, that 10-year-old who has had flashing memories being wow, I was testing my own true feelings back then. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was just feeling sin and guilt, but I was also feeling free to make my own choices, to test the waters. And now what I've learned into my, late 20s and then grown to heal in my 30s to being like soon to be 33 years old, which is the same age Jesus was crucified on the cross. I feel like I'm starting and have crucified a lot of this sexual trauma. It was like, and so because of that, I've started to break down a lot of my own gender norms for myself. And inside of me is a very masculine energy. And you know what lives right next door? A very strong feminine energy. Mm-hmm. And it's extremely fluid. And some days I feel way more feminine than I do masculine. And then other days I feel way more masculine than I do feminine. Mm. And what I'm starting to learn in my life is what it means to be fluid, that gender is fluid. And there's a lot of research and studies and things that are showing that, but just you open your eyes into community and meet people of all different, like identities. And you talk to people how they went through this experience. And it's a roller coaster for most people in this culture. It's an extremely like up and down, I don't know, guilt, shame, this or that, whether you were born religious or not. Learning your true identity is a roller coaster experience. And I think that a lot of this sexual trauma and shame and guilt that happened in my life had really held me back from the truth that I am this very fluid person. I am in a very heterosexual relationship, but this heterosexual relationship has started to grow into being like, we're both bisexual and there is so much freedom to express non-binary, and to have the non-binary expression. Yeah. And I got to tell you, it means every single day is a celebration of life to feel what I'm feeling. And there's now the person that's in like with me that loves me truly loves that, is so attracted to me for that. And the more that I've been able to vulnerably express that and talk about it with them, they're more attracted to that. It's like there's more attraction in our relationship for each other, the more fluid and honest we are about it. And it's pretty wild that I think like what we're talking about, sex is the number one thing, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, sex is easy to talk about. But what about just personal sex? Just personal reflection of what your own sexual relationship with yourself is. And as simple as a kid putting on like woman's underwear at 10 years old because they don't know what they're doing. They're just like, whatever. If you had parents that were like, yeah, that makes total sense. Do you want to wear different types of underwear? Let's go out and buy different types of underwear. What happens to the kid's mind then? Freedom of choice, baby. Mm-hmm. To just, which is like, there's so much going on.
Yeah, and the church really hates that. Because they think that you're giving them the ability to, or not even, technically just giving them the ability to choose, but you're also forcing them to choose the opposite. And like to get the trans community out of teaching kids can't be a part of it. You shouldn't teach that in health class. And it's because of the fear of if you teach it to them, they're going to think they have to be that. And then they're going to force them to be that on a young children's brain. And it's innocent. And it's like, dude, I was a kid once. I don't want to be trans because I'm my own person.
Right.
And I have my own identity. So I think you're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
100%. I think you're just so scared of your own sexuality.
And that fear is so violent and so real that like abortion clinics are being bombed and pride events are being bombed and pride or like leaders for pride events are being, channeled through online commentary and groups that are like signaling to them that we're going to literally kill you if you don't leave this community. Yeah. So then pride leaders are leaving cities.
Full states
because of fear of being killed by these communities. And
I saw this video today.
Heartbreaking,
dude. I saw this video today of this guy, of a police officer. It looked like, who knows who they really are. Some people have just put on, bulletproof vests and shoot up people.
Right.
It happens sometimes, all the time in a fucking country.
Unfortunately.
But he's standing there, and it's a TikTok. You don't really use TikTok that much, but a big part of TikTok is people responding to other people's videos. And the guy was saying that the trans community and the LGBTQAI plus community forces themselves on to Christianity. Like you're forcing it into us, and that's why we're angry. That's why we want to kill. That's why we want to fight. And then it clips to the person responding, and they basically just saying that all their friends are part of the LGBTQ community, and it's all love, and they've never been forced upon anything. Right. And I've mentioned that multiple times. The most love I've ever felt with blouse was at the Pride shows. I just did a Pride show last night, and it was the most loving energy from that community. There is nothing but love in that community. And it's almost like the most oppressed communities are because of what they've had to overcome to be a community. They know that love is the most important thing, and that's all they have to give. I have never felt like a victim from someone of these communities or forced to believe anything. I've just actually been given the ability to believe anything and
to be yourself.
Anything. And this rhetoric that it's being forced on Christians is a Christian's belief of fear, and something that I really relate to in our upbringing as extreme Christians was we were told these same fears of we were the oppressed ones. It's being forced upon you from public school, from this, from that. And it creates this fear so much, especially in a kid, that I believed it for a very long time. And I talked about that trauma in a previous podcast and opened up about that, but it's fear-based and it's just not real.
Yeah.
It's just not real at all. And it's really sad to see the hate and violence against the most loving community I've ever been a part of.
The most recent logic, like that's a connection to that same logic because it's in everything. The Christian is the victim in everything. Is that when a literally world pandemic hits, the Christians are the ones suffering the most because they can't have church.
Yep.
And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
It can get it's everything is a victim against, Christians are the victims. We're the reasons why we're suffering the most. But also we have the gatekeeping. So if you don't want to burn in hell, you have to believe in Jesus Christ. And if you end up in hell, you can't change your mind. Trademark. God loves you.
Yeah. That's love, baby.
But yeah, I've never shared that as in depth on this podcast, but it's very true in my life right now. And I think it's true in a lot of people's lives, I'd imagine. And
do you have enough of Megan's underwear to wear for yourself too?
No, man, I'll be honest with you. I bought my own underwear, baby.
Yeah, baby.
You just go search the internet, go on Amazon, go anywhere you want. You will find some of the, it's like masculine inspired sexy underwear. Let me tell you, if you're in a relationship and if you're in a heterosexual relationship and you want to turn your lady on, do yourself a favor. Switch it up. You'll be surprised what masculine energy your girl might be hiding underneath.
Maybe we could get some Mortal Kombat sexy underwear from men. Yeah, baby.
Chantel heard that. It's a great idea.
Oh yeah.
We just learned some merch.
Yeah, baby.
We should have. Who's going to model it? Ding ding ding
Dude,
ding
I'll
ding.
Model it. I'd love to. If there's one thing I love about performing, is how I get to dress up and put makeup on.
You looked great last night. You wore more makeup than most of the females. Or however people identify.
Dude, there's something.
Kidding, Chantel.
There's something that I learned living in New Orleans about wearing women's clothing and just letting yourself be free for just even a moment. It's like, there's a parade. We're all going to go and we're all going to dress in lingerie. Everyone. And if you want to show your penis, just do it. It's like who cares? It's like, and put on all the makeup. And there's something so freeing about letting go of all the masculine energy and just embodying all the feminine energy or however you want to identify it. But just breaking that barrier that makes me feel so much more strong in my choices and my gender. And I identify as a man that's straight. And I love putting on women's clothing and wearing makeup.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's like, I couldn't tell you the science behind it. I can tell you that.
There is no science. It's just all you're doing is you're speaking truth to power by public or private expression.
Yeah.
When you privately, even on your own, express yourself and not be afraid to do it in the literally against the norm that you were raised under, which is toxic Christian masculinity, then you'll find this freeing thing, which is like a combination of breaking down the barriers, like crushing the walls. It's like the Berlin Wall coming down. It's like literally what you're doing is a wall is falling down and you realize there's this endless culture and community and there's no right or wrong. Just heavy and light energy. And everything is energy and energy is everything, which means that when you embrace freedom and however that looks, which might be like freedom of expression and choice, being like, I'm going to wear lingerie and go to a parade and I am a straight man.
Yeah.
Then what happens is you are freedom of expression, freedom of choice without having to worry It's like you're speaking truth to power.
Yeah.
There's nothing more beautiful than that.
Mm-hmm.
It has gotten people killed forever and has gotten people beat up forever. And there are consequences, but speaking of religion, like some Buddhists and certain Eastern religions and some spirituality practices will even tell you that pain is just weakness leaving the body, baby.
Mm.
And so in reality, there have been a lot of people that have taken that role and done that and been beaten or killed or persecuted. Talk about real persecution.
Yeah, actual persecution.
Just because of freedom of expression. For so many to be able to walk not persecuted today.
Yeah. To all the Christians out there that think you're persecuted, try being gay.
Yeah. Or just try being black.
Try being black.
Try being anything that's not white.
Try not being white, or try being part of the.
And everything that when I say that, it's like on like Reddit
as a white man.
I was finding a lot of posts on like Muslims, women talking about how they don't want to wear the scarf around their head and their mom making them wear it every day. And they're like, I'm an atheist. Like we are just white men. And why is I just express that I'm actually, trying not to identify as strongly as like just that anymore. But like, we come from that background, white toxic masculinity. And it's, that's probably the worst one out there. Just go read a history book.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe the history book's been screwed up already. So
yeah, who knows?
We are getting close to time, so we're going to read our last little post here by Abba B Jedi. Abba B Jedi.
A baby Jedi.
It's hard when it's all together.
No, I love it, dude.
A baby Jedi says, decided to leave the Christian church after 24 years, and I feel nothing. I was raised in the Christian church, non-denominational, sounds like a Calvary Chapel, and grew up believing the Bible and miracles and angels, etc. After going to college, I learned how to think critically for myself. Ding, 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 ding. I am a firm believer in science, always have been. Now that I'm a bit older, I've decided that I believe in no higher being or any gods. When I decided to leave the Christian faith, I felt nothing. No confliction or anger or sadness. I left the church about 6 months ago and still feel nothing to this day regarding it. It's like I never spent the 24 years practicing the religion. Is this normal to feel nothing after leaving? What do you guys feel? What do you... Feeling nothing after being in a...
it makes me want to ask more questions, because my first question is like, how devoted were you to that faith?
So the thing is like, some people feel nothing before they feel everything. Some people feel nothing before they feel everything.
I think the feeling of nothing
is a feeling. Also, I would tell a baby Jedi, this person, not an actual baby Jedi. Let's get that straight. But maybe they are. Maybe that's why they're not feeling anything.
I would say maybe think about going on a retreat.
Doing some plant medicine.
Absolutely.
And I think that because that's like what plant medicine really helps, right? Like these
might unfold some of those feelings.
It might force you to feel some.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to face some traumas.
Yeah.
And also...
also one more thing. 6 months isn't that long. A lot of the trauma I felt from leaving the faith didn't come until 8 years after.
Really good point.
Yeah.
Delayed.
The feeling, like, of course I can identify, like, it was weird doing this every day. It was weird thinking this and blah, 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 blah. But then, like, to get much older, not be in the church for a long time, and then to start realizing that I have repeatedly had these thoughts unconsciously, and it's made me who I am, and I don't want to be this person, and now I have a lot of trauma because I have to change. That's really where I think the feeling starts to come in, where you start to feel what that feels like leaving that church, or what it means to be 24 years religious.
Yeah. Some of these comments I got kind of like tap on to everything we're talking about. Pango.
That's a tough one. Pangolin.
It's something
toasty.
Pangolin Toasty says, deconstructing is a very personal experience. Some find it difficult, others relatively painless. There's no right or wrong. That is so important to reiterate over and over and over. Whatever you're feeling, there's nothing right or wrong about it. They're your feelings. Mm-hmm. Everything is energy, and energy is everything. It's not good or bad. Mm-mm. It is what it is. In your case, it seems you were ready to leave. It is possible that you may experience something a bit like grief later, or maybe not. Either way, it's okay. If you've had a relatively easy ride, it's something to be grateful about. Zachary, did we have an easy ride?
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Yeah, most definitely not.
Any Christian that comes out of the faith and they like have really little religious trauma from it, I'm so happy for you.
I've actually come across a few people that are like, oh, I don't have the same trauma that you have. And I've never thought of it as, well, that's a privilege.
Yeah.
I've always been like, really? I guess you just don't have it yet in my head. But it really is. It's like if you're not traumatized,
what a blessing.
You come from a family that maybe didn't enforce it the same way or let you think a little more freely, and it isn't really as traumatizing for you. Then yeah, that what a blessing. Good for you. That's awesome.
It's like you pulled out the Uno reverse.
Yeah,
it's like
reverse that from you.
Yeah, I'm going to take all that back. Ka Trek Q says it really depends on how much the faith you grew up affected your daily life. Or it really depends on how much the faith you grew up with affected your daily life. For me, the hardest part was getting to the point of accepting I no longer believe. That was like, I was still praying to God for years after I walked away from the faith. Like when I was super scared, I'd be like, God, I don't even know if I really believe in you anymore, but I don't know what else to do.
And that brings up another interesting thing. Believing it or not, I think prayer is a privilege. And learning how to pray is like learning how to meditate. And so to pray now, I really don't pray anymore. And I'm kind of like bummed by it because I used to always be asking God. It's like, just change that. But you're asking yourself then, but you're having that internal dialogue.
But I think that what's happening is you're not asking yourself. You're putting all of this, what should I do pressure onto a being that's not real.
Yeah.
So you're taking yourself away. You're not giving yourself the credit.
True.
Right. And it's a lot easier if you're not putting yourself on the line.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really want to move to Hawaii.
If it's God's will.
God, if it's your will for me to move to, it sounds like it was God's will. And it's like, well, if it's God's will, then it's God's will.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than like, should I move to Hawaii? I don't know. You have to make your own choices.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Got to figure it out. It took a long time. Figurative Lasso says, you may have just never been deeply convicted of the Christian doctrines. Consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, another one.
Definitely agree with that. And the last comment on today's Moment to Reddit comes from Totem Taboo Band. They say, at first I was a bit numb, then a sense of happiness and freedom to live this life took over. However, I do have a sense of loss for the years I wasted making life decisions based on my love-fear relationship with an imaginary deity. Do you ever feel like you missed out in life because of it?
Oh, yeah. But I don't think of it as a miss out. It makes me wonder who I would be without it. Because like I was so coddled until 5th grade and then very much even after then. But not being in public school, not being around people, I really wonder if I would be the same anxious and struggling person that I've always been.
Probably not.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't be me, and so it's really hard to think of like I wasted anything. It's like I love who I am, so I don't think anything of it is a waste.
Preach, Pastor Zach. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
It's like you're healing and growing when obviously these religions, Christianity, conservative Christianity, and evangelical Christianity, that makes you feel guilty for not believing in Jesus, guilty for having feelings about sex, guilty for being anything outside of the gender norm that is man and woman, feeling guilty for wanting to date, not for marriage, and all that guilt and shame from the jump. If you're able to look back on that 20 or 24 or 25 years of your life that was lost, if you will, to a rat race of rules and regulations and gatekeeping, and love yourself still and see that as a part of what makes you who you are today, my friend, my brother, my sibling, you are healing.
Mm-hmm. I totally am. But I wouldn't have said that a year ago. So I definitely am healing.
Which is crazy because that's about when we started this podcast.
Oh, this podcast is changing everything, dude. That's why this podcast is powerful, and that's why I fully believe in it.
Damn. Yeah, and I 100% agree. And I think that we've been on different time lengths or timelines about our religious trauma healing. And I came out of the womb. That's how I felt. I was reborn. I used to always tell people that, like, when you give your life to Christ, you're reborn in Christ. Yeah. And when I walked away from Christ, I was reborn out of Christ. And I felt like a baby. And I was making a lot of baby decisions and got myself into some pickles. Literally, and learned a lot about myself through sexual expression, drugs, partying, and I wouldn't take any of it back. But I'm really lucky to be sitting here today.
Yeah, it's a privilege that we're here today.
And I'm really happy to have gotten to a place that is like really proud and really healthy and recognizing my privilege every fucking day. And starting to learn more and more and more on what it really means to be a white male in this country and the consequences of being raised in a Christian family. And I think that I have so much more space every day for myself first, which is giving me so much space for everybody else because I'm just another version of everyone else. I'm just another you. We're all in this together. And my thoughts affect everybody around me. And so as I like handle the anger and handle the anxiety and handle the depression by taking responsibility, the ability to respond has been magnificently healing. And I too sit with you here today being, although life's hard right now and things can be full of anxiety and things can be depressive, but joy and suffering, baby, life is happening from me. It's not coming at me. It's my experience that is literally the most awesome manifestation of the universe and the cosmos within. And so I feel blessed. Very lucky.
Hashtag blessed, baby.
Hashtag lucky. And I think that does it for Moment to Reddit.
I think that settles the moment. That was a really good talk, dude. I'm really glad we did the Moment to Reddit today.
Seriously, though, that was a really good talk.
Really good talk.
Talking about sex, for one, that was our second topic. I got very vulnerable.
You did.
And it is a hot topic. I think we should talk about sex more on this podcast.
Oh, totally.
I think we got to keep talking about whatever the hot topics are that are like, if there was a white man that was watching this and they were like intrigued by what we were saying and I was sharing what I was saying, I wonder if they'd be able to be like, interesting, you know? Like I think like there's more connection to all of us than we think. And I say white man because I think like that's what I was expressing with myself. But anybody watching it that's kind of like might be shocked to hear us talking about these things, you know?
Totally.
That's good. We want that shock factor, baby.
Shock means good. Good means shocking.
Shock means good. But it's getting late, so we're going to go ahead and jump on over to the Game Cam.
Sorry.
Game Cam. Dude, we might have to do a zoom in on that. That was wild, dude. Your face turned red.
Thanks, dude. Really dove into that.
Once again, we're stuck. We are stuck on Mario Kart. So
I am legit so excited to come to the podcast to try to keep beating you. So
we're gonna go to two-player game battle,
and we have to do donut now. That was the next one. Did donut,
which is good because it's been a long night and it's a quicker game, right? Yoshi.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be Toad then because it is a donut. We gotta be fast. This will be Big Donut 2.0.
Big Donut 2.0.
The last Game Cam was really amazing.
Yeah, it was
great. Was intense. Very Editing intense. It was so fun. I was like reliving it. But here we are again. So let's play.
Let's play, baby.
Come to me, my friend. Dun, 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 dun. I always like that star sound.
Oh my gosh! I went right. No.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Oh, you ran right into that, baby.
I just got so antsy. I thought I still had a star. No!
Yep. Oh, double shot, baby.
You son of a bitch.
Come at me.
Get out of here. Oh, green shells.
Oh my goodness.
You hit yourself.
Oh my goodness. I am like not thinking straight right now. Why would you just shoot those in the corner?
I thought it was going to be a direct hit. Oh!
Yep.
Oh my God.
Round one
what a
done.
terrible
Round
end.
1 ton.
Round ton one.
Round done one.
Round ton one.
Round ton one.
Round ton one is what he said. Wow, this guy.
This guy over here. I loved in the last game, Ken, when you were like, got the boost. And I was like,
I missed you.
No, you missed me. And then I was like, how do you get the boost? You're like, I'm a drummer. And then I mocked him. It was like such a brotherly moment right there.
It's true, though. You do mock me like that. You mock me like that forever. Shoot it. I dare you.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh, you have 2 red shells. Oh, shoot.
Oh, dude, that timing was brutal.
Oh, direct it.
Oh no. I almost went into the lava too. That would have been a brutal hit there.
Wow.
Watch out for those green shells coming towards you, baby.
Whoa. Oh, Scheiße. Oh, shoot.
Oh, dude, get smashed. Oh, you like that? You like that move, baby?
Oh my gosh, this game is so cheap right now.
No! I came in so hot today. I wanted to win so bad, dude. Yeah, that was quick because I was ready to win.
Oh my God, I didn't have any fun. It was just like brutal. I had no chance. You just like, I mean, I made some dumb decisions on game 1.
Yeah, that was pretty dumb. I thought you were going to come back on game 2, though.
That was really good.
Thanks.
Oh man, I'm like, what a bummer.
Found it.
I mean, it's good for you.
Thanks, man. You won last week, so we're doing this bounce back and forth now.
Quick game cams.
Yes. Well, that was quick. The last one was long, dude.
That was a lost game.
I was making the short of it today, and I was like, oh my God, we just kept going and
That was
going.
a great match.
It was a great match.
That was like 3 minutes right there.
Yeah.
Echo. Garage on. Got that timing. Dude. You want to know why?
I'm a drummer.
Because I'm a drummer.
I'm a drummer.
Well, you know what? We're just going to call it. You can see over before we end here. If you've made it to this part of the cast, that brand is starting to look mighty sexy.
Yeah, you're lucky. You're so privileged you have this position to even stare at it. I don't even have a privilege.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's a little distracting, so you might be lucky to not be distracted by such amazing art.
We both have our own privileges. The universe is its own chaos and its own perfection.
I'm sick of this. We're done. Everyone have a good night. Thank you, Chantel.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.